Good morning, everyone, and happy Father's Day. Yay. How many of you are fathers, grandfathers? Oh, okay, everybody, actually. Okay, thank you. Anyway, welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple Family Service. My name is Cynthia Rodriguez, and I will be your MC this morning. I'd like to welcome back and thank Reverend Shingo Furusawa for officiating today's service. We will begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or the Kansho, that signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual, steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly as the bell is being rung. If you are able, please rise for meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in both Pali and English, which can be found in your red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7.
Gacchami Dhamman Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namandava, namandava, namandava.
Please be seated. Today's sutra is Gassho to Amida. It describes the interconnection of all things that support our life and the working of great compassion, and expresses gratitude to everything. Please turn to your Jodo Shinshu service book on page 123.
Are you ready? Namo Amida Betsuin. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I Gassho to Amida, trees and grasses and flowers, all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I Gassho to Amida, flowers bloom and flowers crop, from the seeds from new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I Gassho to Amida, springtime bring the happy birds, their songs of praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I Gassho to Amida, when I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I Gassho to Amida, when I'm lonely I recite Namo Amida Betsuin. Then I feel great compassion. I Gassho to Amida, Nembutsu in work and pray, every day with Amida, every moment filled with light. I Gassho to Amida, remember the golden chain kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I Gassho to Amida. In the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night, I Gassho to Amida. Namo Amida Betsuin. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I Gassho to Amida. The virtue of Amida's vow issued equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namandava, 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 namandava.
If you are able, please rise for the recitation, Homages, which can be found in the Jodo Shinshu Service Book on page 2. Then remain standing for the Gatha, Hotokesama number 2, which is located in your purple Praises of the Buddha book on page 93. Hard it is to be born into human life. Now we are living in it. Difficult it is to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear them. If we do not gain emancipation in the present life, we may not be free from ill faring in the ocean of births and deaths for kalpas. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures. We go to the Buddha for guidance. May we always walk in the way that leads to enlightenment. We go to the Dharma for guidance. May we be submerged in the depth of the teachings and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. We go to the Sangha for guidance. May we all with one accord live the life of harmony in the spirit of oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriads of kalpas, hard it is to hear such excellent and profound teachings. Now we are able to hear and receive them. Let us try to understand the Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Betsuin. Please be seated. Our guest speaker this morning is Rodney Moriyama. I'd like to call upon Dennis to introduce him.
Good morning, everyone. Rodney Moriyama was born in Hawaii and resided all over the United States, Europe, and in Japan. He has a BSc. I'm sorry, what is a BSc?
Bachelor of Science and Engineering.
Oh. Yeah, more smart than me. Okay. He graduated from the University of Michigan and a master's degree in business administration from the University of California at Berkeley. Ooh. His main experiences span 3 different careers with the IBM Corporation, the Queen's Health Systems, and the Hawaii Department of Education. Although his primary responsibilities involve the application of technology solutions in large organizations, his focus has always been on the development of people, strategic planning, and lifelong learning. Rodney's latest milestone was receiving Tokudo ordination in Kyoto, a ministerial ordination, on his 80th birthday in 2025. He has been designated as Tokudo Minister's Assistant. Rodney is married and has children and 4 grandsons. Welcome, Rod.
Good morning, everyone. So glad to see so many of you. Let me get started here. One of the things that I learned was that when you retire, there isn't anybody to help you with your commuter stuff. It is, so it's always a challenge for me. I know quite a few people here, and I'm so glad to see all of you. It's just terrific that I just live right over the hill in Moanaloa. It took me longer to get to here than to Wahiawa when I drive on Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, life presents us with many twists and turns, and all are learning opportunities, and I really believe in that. I'm sure a lot of you know this first line of Soshinge. I take refuge in the Tathagata of immeasurable life. I entrust myself to the Buddha of inconceivable life. And we chant this every day. Kimyo Muryo Junyo Rai Namo Fukashigi Ko. How many of you are familiar with those 2 lines? It's the essence of Jodo Shinshu. Of course, I didn't know that when I first started on this journey. Of course, I didn't fully understand what it was all about. I chanted those lines along with everybody else, and I kind of like, oh, okay. But I did that for 3 times a day for over a year, just getting ready for this. And we continue it because I'm just not good at it. I got to practice some more. Anyway, just a quick summary of my life. I started off, born and raised in Wahiawa, a small town in the middle of Oahu. I participated at Wahiawa Hongwanji since kindergarten. My parents just dropped us off, and I went to church. And I was involved with junior YBA, Aikido, Kendo, a lot of activities. I even taught Sunday school as a high school student, and I left Hawaii right after graduating high school. And you heard that. I got all these degrees. And I was hired by IBM in California. I served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam era in Heidelberg. I returned home to get married at Wahiawa, Hongwanji. And my wife and I have been honeymooning for 55 years now. I got a great, great wife, by the way. On October 3rd, 2024, Fei Mar passed away. And I've known Dexter. I know Dexter's coming next week, right? Tell his story. Well, I've known Dexter and Fei for many years. Their son died 16 years earlier. And he told them that he wanted to be a Buddhist. And so they really committed themselves. And we were involved in the Jodo Shinshu program, the lay assistant program. I was present on the day of Fei's passing at the hospital, and I've witnessed a number of different passings, but Fei was especially moving because she was really young, you know, and she was gorgeous. She was just beautiful. She had an aura about her, and she was very peaceful. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. That was a very moving experience for me. And Dexter asked me to be the MC of their celebration of life for her. And after the service, he's the guy who asked me, hey, I'm thinking of going for my Tokudo. Will you come with me? Because I'm Chinese. And I said, what? wait a minute. And I said, I got to ask my wife, you know. And she thought that, well, it will keep him occupied, so that's good, you know, let him go. Of course, she didn't understand what a commitment that was. By the way, I didn't either. And, but she was okay with this new adventure. She was thinking it was like just going on a trip and, you know, experiencing going to Japan in a different way. Because we lived in Japan too. We learned more about Jodo Shinshu in those few months than I ever have in my whole life put together. And why is that? I think it's because I wasn't that committed. You know, it was like, whoa, this is pretty hard. And so twice a week for a year at Moilili Hongwanji with Reverend David Fujimoto and Dexter and Raymond Takeuwe, we practiced Thursday nights for 2 hours and Saturday mornings for 2 hours every week, just to get ready and memorize. We had to memorize all these different chants and rituals. Learning how to dress and fold our robes for regular and formal occasions. We had to buy a whole bunch of robes beforehand, and all these books too. The books, half of which I've never used because they're all in kanji, right? And but we had to buy them anyway. And so we were tested on April 19th. And Reverend Eric, Bishop Umitani, Reverend Fujimoto, like I said, and Reverend Blaine Higa, along with Bert Sumikawa, he was also there to help us chanting and everything. So we had a lot of support, really great support from them. Really gave me a deep appreciation for the minister's role in building a spiritual foundation for a better society. And ministers really have to study all these different rituals. You know, there's this Jodo Shinshu book, an orange book, not the service book, but the orange book. And if you read it completely, you can get your Tokudo too. The only problem is you have to memorize it. Yeah. Anyway, we arrived, the international group arrived, there were 13 of us. on September 26th, which is like 4 days before, for orientation and adjusting for the time lag. And our first meeting was at 6 a.m. service at the Nishi Hongwanji headquarters, where we met at 5:30 a.m. Before that, we only met these guys via Zoom at the IBS, the International Buddhist Jodo Shinshu office every 2 or 3 times. And not 2 or 3 times, 4 times before that online. But because it was recorded, we could watch it over and over again to understand what the ritual is, how to fold, all that kind of stuff. So this live service was the first time we've ever watched the real pros. And they have teams of guys there, you know, at the main temple. And they do this 3 times a day. And it's an absolute performance. I mean, if you get a chance to go to Kyoto, you should go to one of them and just watch how they do it, because it is very, very inspiring. And some people are there every day to chant. And it's, you know, guys like Cookie, you know, older people, they come every morning at 5:30, and they say good morning to everybody, and they're, you know, putting their hands together, and Namu Amida really loud, and good morning, and it's like, wow, you know, that's your life. It was kind of interesting. It was really wonderful. So we had 13 aspirants from Hawaii, the US, Canada, Belgium, Spain, and Germany. And we were so lucky to be part of this really illustrious group. They all had PhDs. I mean, they're really, really smart people. They were college professors. In fact, we're going to have the summer session speaker, Aaron Prophet. He was in our group. He was our group leader, fluent in Japanese, he teaches Buddhism at Albany University in New York. He also knows Reverend Early Gatha in New York City too, and he has a close relationship with him. So Dexter, of course, you know, is a clinical pharmacist, and he's Dr. Marr, basically. And Raymond Takiu is a funeral director. So they're much more experienced than I ever was. You know, it was kind of like, whoa. So Raymond was the most qualified. And so the bishops from Hawaii, BCA, Buddhist Churches of America, Canada, were also assigned to teach classes at this 11 days for Kyoto, for the ordination. And there were 24 other Japanese participants forming 2 other groups. We're actually about half the size of a regular group. We normally have 100 students going through this thing. And they're really, really strict there. This is the night before we had to check out of our hotel room before going to Nishiyama Betsuin. The training center is about half an hour away from headquarters. But before we get there, all of our bags, everything is inspected. You can only take those robes that you have and all the books that you have. And all your civilian clothes have to be left behind back at the hotel. By the way, you can ask me any questions. I don't want to, otherwise I'll just zip right along. This is the night before, and some of the women can choose to have their heads shaved. Men, of course, have to. And so I'm not used to seeing Aaron as an example with hair. But Aaron had, you know, like he had ponytail, locks, he had tattoos all over, and he had to cover all of his tattoos and everything. And it's really, really interesting because all of us I didn't realize what a big deal it was, but it was a really big deal. Being in the Army, having your head shaved, no big deal, right? But you cannot enter that premise with more than 1 millimeter of hair length. So even though I went there with my hair shorn, I had to shave every day before entering Nishiyama Betsuin. And women had to have their hair cut short so their hair doesn't touch the collar of their robes. And so we had a haircutting party the night before, and there were 5 women in our group. 4 of them decided they were going to have their heads shaved too. So I thought, wow, that's a pretty big move, very, very big. And for women, they didn't want to even be bothered, which is, I guess, the right attitude. No makeup allowed, nothing's allowed there for women. So I thought, boy, they're really committed, And so anyway, this is one of the instructors there shaved everybody's head. Are there any questions? Okay.
Where's the picture of you with your hair gone?
Oh, that was the very first picture. Anyway, I will. So we had 11 days at Nishiyama Betsuin, and that was a testing process. You were supposed to be able to do all these things already, but they were there to individually test you. And so every morning, this was our routine. We had a wake-up call at 5:30. I got up at 4:30 because I'm really slow. And then we had to be dressed for health checkup by 5:50. And the reason for the health checkup was that we were all living all together on tatami mats, snoring away. And they were very sensitive about anybody being sick. So if you had a temperature in the morning, you're kicked out. And so it was very, very interesting to see that you kept telling us, okay, don't be sick, don't be sick. It was kind of like when you're in basic training. It was the same thing. Don't fall out because you're going to come back next summer for it, Then after that, at kind of like 10 to 6, we would have assembly. And we have the entire group. And by the way, I look at Japanese movies now, and all companies have assembly. I didn't realize, again, it's a Japanese thing. The whole company comes together and they talk about what they're going to do for the day, what the schedule is, that kind of thing. Or who screwed up yesterday or whatever. Of course, it's all in Japanese. So, most of us are just sitting there going, I don't know what he's saying. So after that, we have 20 minutes of cleanup. And we're all dressed in our robes. This is the cleanup robe. We have much more formal robes that we have to dress for the services 3 times a day. So as soon as we finish cleaning up, we have to rush to our rooms, fold these robes in a certain order, put it all away, and then we redress into our formal robes and be back down in time for service. What do I want to say about that? I was always late. I was so lucky because everybody else was so much younger than I was, and they helped me, put on the robes and that kind of stuff. After that, we had lectures or tests, and then we would have, I take that back. After service, we had to rush back, robe off, robe on, put on our these robes for eating breakfast. And groups were assigned to serve, rotating basis. So you had to serve all the breakfasts in each of the locations at the bottom floor there. And then someone was assigned to give words of thanksgiving, and then after the words of thanksgiving ending. What I didn't count on was that, really, by the way, breakfasts were really good. It wasn't only it wasn't only vegetarian. You know, they had a full breakfast. The problem was they only gave you 10 minutes to eat it. And no talking at all. So, you know, you're just eating as fast as you can, and then you're keeping your eye out for the instructor who's sitting in front, and they can eat so fast. It's just amazing. And they finish, and then they say, okay, then we have, you know, Gochizo-sama, and then they have a, same thing, feedback on what happened. So-and-so's room wasn't quite right. You know, the robes weren't folded correctly. And we all have numbers assigned to us. So they don't mention the names, but you know what number, what room was. Oh, man. So anyway, then after that, we go to our lectures. So it was really great. It was a very fun experience. By the way, we weren't allowed anything electrical. And so no watches, no alarm clocks, nothing. Everything was done as a group, on purpose, of course. So it was built to enhance your awareness through sleep deprivation, and it was a mentally stressful environment because lights out was at 10:30, 11 o'clock. And most of us were studying for the next day for a test too. And of course, everything was in silence. It was actually kind of nice. It was really quiet. I had the distinction of being the oldest there. There are many advantages of being old, as many of you know. But the Japanese cohorts were very young. Sensei, how old were you when you went to Tokudo?
Me?
Yeah.
I forgot to say. 4 or 5 or
24, 25. Yeah. Hashimoto Sensei from Wahiawa, he went when he was 16 years old. I don't know of any Japanese who enjoyed that experience. You know, you have to be kind of older to be able to handle that, you know, because that's when you're older, you're kind of, okay, I've been through that kind of thing. But yeah, these young folks, I felt so sorry for them. They had to sit seiza too, and many of them were from temple families, and they weren't used to sitting seiza for long periods of time. And when we had services, we were tested. If there was a mistake, yari naoshi, you know, means do it over again, ganbare, you know, kind of thing. And we were sitting on chairs, but we have to sit straight with our back straight. And after an hour, I don't have a lot of meat back here. Even your colleague gets really sore and numb. So anyway, I felt really sorry for them. But they really pulled together. On the other hand, there are moments of pure joy. We went to terrific tours. All the things that Shinran experienced, we were given tours of. We went on bus trips and, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. We had excellent instructions. Like I said, bishops were teaching us different lectures, all in English, not in Japanese. And it was very, very well done. Of course, because you are so sleep deprived, your awareness, your level of awareness is really heightened. So even a small flower is, wow, that's so beautiful. You know, that feeling here of like, wow, I wish I had a camera, because you can't bring your camera in there to take a picture of it. There was a lot of teamwork and bonding. These pictures were taken during our orientation when we walked through the Honzan. And so we had our cameras there, but while there, we couldn't take pictures of the facility at all. So here we are, the ordination and graduation. And the ordination ceremony occurs at night to imitate the evening of Matsuwaka Maru's ordination, Shinran's ordination, to become a Tendai monk and named Hanen. This is held in the Goido, the main temple, and I was really nervous because, you know, this is the last day. You don't want to screw up everybody else, you know, just kind of. And so I kept asking myself, what am I doing here? And we were to sit in total silence and look straight ahead. I didn't even know that the Gomonshu came in to the room because it's pitch black anyway, and just one candle in front, so you couldn't see anything. It was like a cult initiation, and the Gomonshu comes out to ceremoniously hear your Tokudo pledge that everyone recites together, shouting at the floor as loud as you can at the top of your lungs. And then he comes around and touches your head 3 times. I guess with a razor. I'm just gonna feel it on your head. And that's it. After that, we were given this orange Getza, and they say, okay, we're going back to Nishiyama. Because, we weren't. So the next morning, we attended morning service at 6 o'clock, fully dressed again in our formal robes. And we had our graduation breakfast. And it was held next door to the Amida. It was the most formal meal we had yet to experience. It was in beautiful red lacquerware, I thought, God, I wish I had a camera to take a picture of this. But of course, it was really expensive and no talking. So we couldn't, talk story or anything. You just had to eat as fast as you can because you only had 10 minutes to eat. And then we were out of there. We were taken to the buses to go to the Otani Honbyo and be introduced to Shinran at his mausoleum and introduced as the new Tokudo class, which was, really chicken skin. Everything was very solemn. And I really thought deeply about the Tokudo pledge and what I had taken along with my classmates, because they're pretty serious. So here is the Tokudo pledge. I affirm that I will uphold the duties as a Buddhist minister for all my life, never being neglectful of responsibilities to actively pursue knowledge and propagate the teachings. With harmony as the main principle, I shall never cause disorder or trouble to occur in our religious institution. I shall live a life of gratitude to the benevolence of the Buddha, contributing toward the realization of a just and compassionate society. And this pledge, of course, is done in Japanese. But it's very, very moving. And it's kind of like, this is it, boys. And so when you're given all this robes and everything else, you really think about that. Wow, your role has taken on a whole different meaning. It's very interesting. So some reflections. My wife joined me in Osaka. Spouses aren't allowed there. So she came and joined me at Osaka, and we went traveling for 10 days, visiting relatives and stuff. And so I got this new perspective now as an ordained minister. Religion is a reflection of societal values and culture. This is Japan. The feeling of it being Japanese. So the Japanese people that's just the ordinary life. That's just the way they are. So I thought, oh, how interesting. And Jodo Shinshu is just one of several sects of Buddhism. One of the most democratic and most liberal sects, and so it's very popular. But there are all kinds of sects in Japan, and temples all over the place. So very interesting to see my relatives in Iwakuni, as an example. They have one room with a Butsudan for Jodo Shinshu, and then they have a Shinto shrine in another room. And so, they pray to both. I don't know if they pray every day, but, maybe New Year's like we used to. I grew up in my house, we had both. And New Year's Day, we would, clap, and, pray to the Shinto side. So the Tokudo Shurai process is a reflection of Shinran Shonin. And we saw how he struggled in the Tendai sect, the hard way, the path of the sages to attain enlightenment. And he was just frustrated as can be. And so it was very interesting to see the regular people's perspective of religion. They're not that religious in Japan. It's just there. But you have a tremendous culture that is on time, a mass transit system that is second to none, and everybody is very cordial to everybody else. So I thought, you have to be. I guess it's really crowded there, yeah. And so every aspect of the training emphasized timeliness, consideration, and cooperation with others. That was a fantastic experience for me because no competition. All that we were there, all the time we were there, everybody helped everybody at all times. And it was a wonderful, wonderful feeling, wonderful experience. Especially when most of my life I was in competition with somebody else, looking at my back to be stabbed, right, that kind of thing. But in this environment, it was just really beautiful. And I thought, boy, this is a nice way to live. So the challenge is, in America, where a lot of the emphasis is on materialism, in being successful, et cetera, win-lose proposition. How do we introduce a religion, or actually it's a way of life, I wouldn't call it a religion. How do we introduce a way of life that makes people have this wonderful feeling? And a lot of it is, I felt it this morning coming to Kaido Hongwanji. Really terrific to see everybody helping each other out and getting the temple ready and everything else. So I think that feeling is indescribable, right? It's just a feeling. And if you don't come every Sunday or whenever you come or participate, you miss out, man. You really miss out. So I really tell people, hey, you should come. It's a good feeling. So again, it accurately reflects the thinking and the values of its founder, Shinran Shonin. Jodo Shinshu provides a simple solution to a very complex societal problem. The idea of accepting impermanence as the truth and interdependency throughout society, that everyone's interconnected. How do you live that way? Yeah, very, very interesting. This is us coming in, graduation morning, being dressed. One of our cohort's husband came and took these pictures, so we had them, So it has been a fascinating journey. It's just the beginning, of course, of a much more complex conversation. And I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. Anyway, thank you so much for coming today. This is our graduation picture. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. You have convinced me strongly as to what direction I'm going in now. Thank you. Anyway, if you're able, please stand for the Gatha, Lord Buddha Speaks to Me, on page 137 of the Praises of the Buddha book. Then remain standing for the Nembutsu, which can be found on page 145.
Namandam, namandam, namandam.
Please be seated. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's service, and have a very, very enjoyable Father's Day. We will now have announcements by Dennis.
Hello. Thank you, Rod, for that, showing the experience. And I mean, on the one hand, it's so exciting, going through the process that's been there over the centuries. And too bad my body has got too many aches and pains, so I don't think I can handle that. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you also to Reverend Shingo for officiating today's service, Cynthia for being the MC, Prudence as our greeter, and Lisa for playing the piano. And of course, Ryan is recording today's service. Our guest today, a dear friend of Windward Buddhist Temple, Glenn Hamamura of Wahiawa, Hongwanji. Thank you so much for coming all the way. I know you also wanted to hear Rod, but welcome. Welcome back, Brandy, Mark, Peyton, and Emmett. Welcome, thank you. And welcome back, heck, my mind's blank. Suzanne, I'm sorry, Suzanne, but nice to see you again. So that's another thing. I'm losing my memory. No. Okay, next Sunday will be our monthly remembrance service. If you would like to remember a loved one who passed away in the month of June of any year, you may do so during the remembrance service. Please add your name to the name of your loved one on the list that'll be at the greeter's desk. If you have a picture of your loved one, please bring it to the service. Reverend Yuika Hasebe of Hawaii Betsuin will return to officiate the service, and Dexter Marr, also of Hawaii Betsuin, will be our guest speaker. The Windward Buddhist Temple Bone Dance is coming up quickly. It's on the second Saturday in July, July 11th. Manpower is really important. We look for volunteers to help set up the yagura, or musician stand. That'll be done on the Saturday before, Saturday, July 4th, beginning at 8 a.m. So you can kind of see the amount of, the type of work we need to do. So, you know, if you have younger friends, a lot of muscles, please encourage them to help. We also need manpower after the bone dance. The next morning, Sunday, July 12th at 8 a.m. we'll be taking down the yagura. Your help would be really greatly appreciated. Now, I'll call up both Merle and Cynthia. They'll speak about the other assistance that are needed.
Thank you to those of you who have stepped forward and volunteered donations for the food booth, the concession, the ingredients. We still do have things that are outstanding. And also thank you to those who have stepped up and said that they're willing to help right now for Friday at 1 o'clock for the prepping of the meat, cutting the teriyaki meat, and then we're going to be doing things like prepping the saimin and getting that ready. So that's at 1 o'clock on the 10th. And Saturday at 1:30, we're going to start the spam musubi, and that's really quick. about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we would looking for help on that day as well. And then, of course, Saturday night, between 5 and 10, the concession will be open. So we're looking for volunteers to work in the concession. Once I get all the names in, then we can start assigning duties and sending out information. But that's the biggest challenge right now. And I have my kitchen crew, thanks to Dana, is all set up now. So they'll be working in the kitchen during the night. Those are the main things that we need help with right now. And like I say, you've stepped up. A lot of you have stepped up, so I really, really appreciate it. But if you know anyone else that can help, let me know. We can always use more help. Thanks.
We pretty much have our crew for the country market, which is the rummage sale and pickle type and manju type food items. But if you'd like to help, we're more than welcome to. Please see me if you are willing to help. This would be on Friday and Saturday, if you're available. The other thing is Sunday. This coming Sunday is the last Sunday that we'll be collecting for the rummage sale. So if you have anything, please bring it. We've collected a whole bunch of things already. Thank you very, very much. But this coming Sunday is the last Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Merle and Cynthia. So again, we really appreciate all your help, if not physically, but just by donating money or items needed, the rummage sale as well as for the food booth. Thank you very much. Okay, are there any other announcements? Oh yeah, sorry, I missed that. Part of the setting up of the Yagura, we decorated, we make it our unique style. We love to use very hardy flowers like torch ginger, bird of paradise, orchids, as well as monstera leaves. So whatever you have, maybe growing in a garden that are fairly hardy, not only the monstera leaves, but we put up different flowers. I don't know if you can really tell, but at the corners you see the heliconia, I believe. But we try to make it very Hawaiian looking. But again, this is one of the uniqueness of the Windward Buddhist temple's Bon Dance. Okay. Yes? Flowers come that morning. Okay. If you do have the greeneries or flowers, try to deliver it the morning of the Saturday, July 4th. I'm sorry, July 11th. So by the time the dance comes around, it'll still be somewhat fresh. Okay. Okay. Today being Father's Day, we have little token gifts for fathers. As you leave the hall, Merle will be passing them out to you. Okay? All right, I think it's time for refreshment, so let's do words of thanksgiving. It'll be up on the screen. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you, everyone.